Welcome to Magical Lifestyle of a Cottage Witch. I'm Mika, said Cottage Witch, and today we're going to have a nice little sit down, heart to heart, and I'm going to talk about the sort of everyday aspects of living a magical lifestyle as a cottage witch. I've been asked this question before. So what is cottage witchery exactly? What do you do? So are you just doing spells in your home? How is that different from any other witch? So I want to talk about sort of the practical everyday aspects of living a magical lifestyle for me as a cottage witch. Let's start with the morning magic. A cup of tea, a herbal blend of sorts, whether it's mushroom coffee, it's herbs, mushrooms technically, isn't that an herb family? But most days now is definitely a tea blend or teas altogether. So hibiscus tea, rooibos tea, or some sort of blend that I might have picked up lately. It's a womb tea that I've been drinking from a local spiritual store out in Phoenix. I live in a desert, by the way. I'm in Arizona. So I love this shop and I love their tea. So I've sometimes had that, but these are kind of like my main things. I might throw in a lavender or something like that. Now that the weather is changing, I'm more hibiscus tea blend. I'll throw something else in there. I like to throw cinnamon in my hibiscus tea as well. Those are grounding. I feel like, it's sort of my opportunity to immediately practice my rituals first thing in the morning, the act of actually doing the tea, but being mindful and intentional about the process. So that's sort of my first step into magical lifestyle. Tea. The other thing is magical housekeeping. When I do clean up, I clean with a purpose. So I use gadgets. I'm not always with a broom, although I'm cool with using a broom. But if I'm using that Roomba, I don't think about just dust. And trust me, it gets very mundanely dusty here. I also think about it as collecting energy. So every aspect is intentional. So once I'm done using the Roomba, I'm going to, empty that dust compartment where the dirt collects the dust and all that debris. And it's not just mundane crumbs and dust. It's also, the remnants of the outside, the energies that we don't want, that's going into, the trash as well once I empty it out. So I sort of, it's all very, a little bit more intentional than just house cleaning. When I'm cleaning, I'm very mindful about what my thoughts are. Am I worrying? Sometimes just the aspect of doing things like, washing dishes, mopping floors, dusting, wiping things down, even folding laundry can feel, your mind can wander. I make a point to be conscious and aware of my thoughts and sort of control my thoughts. I don't want to be thinking of things I'm worrying about because I feel like I'm putting that energy into everything that I'm touching. I'm wiping the slate clean is what I'm thinking. I'm setting sort of a stage, setting up for more good, more experience. And I also think in terms of gratitude when I'm doing these things, especially cooking. The last thing you want to do is to be thinking about how much you don't feel like cooking, how much you don't want to do this, how, you wish you could, I wish somebody else could be doing this. Or if you are living with other people, why am I the only one cooking? They should be doing it. And just having these sort of negative thoughts, I don't bring that sort of energy into my cooking, into my kitchen if I can help it. Even getting some water, I'm thinking how it's nourishing. I'm grateful that I have clean drinking water. I'm thinking in terms of gratitude intentionally. And if you're thinking, well, I can't be thinking like that all the time, why not? Why is the default to either be absent of thought all the time, even though you're truly not? But why is the default? I've come across people who truly think that, well, I'm in a state of just being neutral. I'm not thinking about anything. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If you have a choice Why not? And so I know another person said to me, that seems like a lot of work. Do you know how much work it is to that's why autoimmune disease is running rapid with people. Stress, which leads to heart attacks, strokes, and things like that. Whether you want to believe it or not, a lot of us are walking around here like a ticking time bomb. With the physical aspects of calling yourself not thinking, like it's too much work to constantly be thinking of gratitude and positivity. And I don't mean the fake kind, but if you have access to clean drinking water and food, that's a reason to be grateful. It doesn't have to be an elaborate thought process behind it, but just acknowledging it, even just mentally for a moment, is not work. It's not work. It really isn't. So being in that space, being in a space of gratitude tells the universe you're open to receive even more. This is the vibration that you're on. Full stop. Emotional magic. Or I should say just being more, I've already been talking about it, but being more mindful, being a lot more intentional about the everyday tasks. But specifically for me, journaling is a really big deal. What I like to call thought correction for myself as well. Instead of saying, oh man, I keep forgetting, to do XYZ or something like that. Instead, I'm kinder, and I'm trying to reframe the thought to, I need to remember to hold space for this. I need to remember to hold space for this. Things like that. And just, it's just a mind shift. But it's important because the magic starts in the mind and the heart for me. So those things are important. So honestly, I've kind of given this one away, but I kind of wanted to highlight it, is having a bit more control over your thoughts is really important to me in witchcraft in general. Me as a cottage witch, again, all this intention is coming from, my thoughts and how I'm willing to sort of arrange my thoughts as the day progresses into the night. And, it's something that I pride myself on doing. And to be honest with you, I've had my rituals are I get something out of them. I'm not just doing things because I think I should do them. I have a coven, and I am the high priestess of that coven. So it's important that I sort of, I like to make sure that my foundation is pretty secure as well before I come and attempt to organize and work with the others in the coven. So my mind, I'm very intentional about, taking opportunities to do grounding work and to really kind of do check-ins as well, occasional rounds of shadow work as well. Let's talk about kitchen magic. So with kitchen magic, it's about the way I stir. It's what I chant. It's the charm that I speak. It's the ingredients that I make a point to use, and me recognizing their metaphysical properties. Mushrooms, which I eat a lot of, for grounding energy. Beans, abundance and prosperity. Garlic for my protection. Onion as well for protection. Citrus, lemon, limes. I think of those as for literal zest of life, for life force. If I'm making a soup or some sort of stew, something saucy. I think of health with that as well. And then the different herbs that I'm bringing in, that just compounds it. And then the final dish, overall, I sort of take all those aspects of all the different metaphysical properties of each ingredient, and it becomes this overall thing, kind of like medicine, right? So I take all that into consideration, and I'm very aware of the energy that I'm bringing. I tried to come from a place of creativity. This has not been something I've been very good at, to be honest with you, because like a lot of people, because, I had kids and, they're just, especially when they were younger, it felt like a chore to cook. And listen, there are days it still feels like a chore, let's just be honest. However, I try to prepare for that and have like quick things that I can kind of throw in the air fryer on those days. I don't want to bring that energy and consume it. I don't want to do that. I know what that looks like on the back end, and I don't want to do that. So I approach cooking with creativity. I have cookbooks that I'll go to the library to constantly kind of stay inspired. I'll buy some. I'll watch YouTube, even on TikTok. I'll look for recipes there, and I've tried a bunch of things I've seen between YouTube and TikTok, especially for like vegetarian foods and vegan recipes, things like that. So I approach it from a place of art. So I think about it, even, the cookware. So I bought myself beautiful pink pots, a pan set, pots and pans, all pretty in pink because that's my color here. And that's my theme in the kitchen. Um, even the tools that I use, I'm very intentional about the color choice and things like that. Everything to the plates that I serve them on. I want everything to be beautiful, and I think that's the connection to probably, yes, Hestia, but also Aphrodite as well, coming through. Yeah. So, and Hathor, because I've worked with her probably the longest. And just wanting to sort of beautify and add a creative spin, and yes, taste good as well. And these are intentional and feel good. So when I do sit down with that meal, I like to have my rituals. I have certain TV shows that, yeah, I watch TV when I eat, and I want a certain TV show on. And sometimes I'll make sure I have a wine pairing. And it's all so much more intentional, and it becomes its own art, its own thing, and it just makes it more delicious. Kitchen witchery is another place where magic is definitely pervasive. Altars, offerings, and everyday devotion. One of the things I realized is where I keep my plants, which is at various spots around the home, but I have a place in my home where there's a major concentration of my plant life, plant babies, as I say. um, I consider that now an altar space and a place of devotion, a nurturing space as well. And my offering is almost always going to be water. For my ancestor altar, my intention is to check on that more often than not. I'll be honest with you, I have constantly struggled on the right placement in my home for an ancestor altar. And one of the things that I've realized is I do have a physical space. That way, if I want to put a physical offering, I can. Most of the times it's just water. I use the same vessel just for this intention. To be perfectly honest, I work with my ancestors in the astral realm. There's a place that I meet them. And that's through a meditative state, and it's been years, and it that seems to be the altar that they're willing to work. This space seems to be the altar where we have communication. Other than that, I just speak out loud. As far as the deities, the altars that I work with there, I do have several around the home. I tend to them as needed. I don't have this everyday devotion practice. It works for me. I know for others, they feel very differently about it. They feel like that's something they should do every single day. They don't make me feel that way, and I feel like things are working just fine as is. So it's as needed, and it's not the same altar each time. So Tuesday, I may be tending to this one. This day, I'm tending to this one. So it's not even the same set every day that I might be working with. And again, I'm sort of cottage witchery kind of lends itself to more informal practice, at least in my opinion. So the way I do it, so I just speak. I speak to the existence at the altars as well. And offering's not always asking for something, and offering can be your time. And I don't think enough witches talk about that. Your offering can be your time, just taking time to communicate, to be open to messages can be an offering. My evening rituals are an opportunity to slow down and to reflect. As time has gone on, for me, perimenopausally speaking, I have to protect my evening rituals fiercely. I don't want anything that can essentially disrupt the natural flow of going into my sleep cycles. That means I have to be very diligent about not scrolling on social media, getting and taking negativity and things like that. Um, any kind of books that I'm reading, I'm very intentional about, sort of what I read for fun. I used to read things that were paranormal, but they sort of had like a real life bent to it, like murder mysteries, but they were paranormal. I find I don't like reading those at night because that can have sort of a effect and affects my dreams. So I did discover that. So I'm not too much about that. But I'm okay with definitely. I still definitely almost everything I read fiction is paranormal or has a bent to it. But any sort of romance, paranormal romance, or something along those lines, that's perfect for going to sleep with. So I'll read that into the night. I also I'm mindful about the last thing that I've consumed, that I've eaten or drink as well. And there has to be a sort of cutoff because that can affect my dreams. And, that sets me up for the next day. So we don't want that. Um, I try to keep as neutral as possible my thoughts, to be honest with you. This is just like your everyday stuff. I try to keep them neutral. If I'm doing any reflection, sometimes I write down, I journal. I don't journal every single night. I sort of go through phases where I'll be doing that and then it kind of falls off. Um, I think it's more important to I do think it's important to journal. I do. However, realistically, sometimes it's just not going to happen, right? But I do like to sort of do like this sort of rundown with my mind. Sometimes I'll speak it to. I may be talking to someone about it, like a evening conversation. I might kind of go over some of the highlights of my day, and that's okay sometimes as well to just speak it out and just sort of acknowledge it to someone. Um, Choose your circle wisely so that you feel comfortable having these types of conversations with people. But yeah, that's just sort of the light version. Now, when I want to do a little razzle dazzle in my practice, I'm definitely doing a little bit more journaling. I'm doing the shower ritual where I'm imagining not just washing away, but I'll do a full sugar scrub and all that sort of stuff. And I'm intentional about what I'm using for the sugar scrub and the bath products, the skincare, all of that. That's where I'm definitely working more of my love witch aspects, the glamour, and all that sort of stuff. Even the hair massage that I do, I'm putting the hair drops that I put in for like hair growth and things like that. So, yeah, I ritualize all those other aspects as well. I make a point, and I should have said this actually. I make my bed pretty much every single day. There's something about coming into my space, my bedroom, with that made up bed, and I decorate it, and it's definitely very feminine, and in my bedroom, and the bed, the linens, and everything that I use. So yeah, it sets the tone for the evening as well. And having that ready to go because of the work that I did in the morning and coming in and seeing this beautiful made bed and my beautiful bed that I manifested, by the way. I This is a new bed that I got last year and it's so beautiful, and it's very feminine, Barbie-esque, and I got like coquette finishes around, very girly. um, that does something for me as well when it's time to sort of reflect and come down for the night, and then the lighting is important as well. So the lighting, no big lights. We either lamps or I have battery lit candles all around the home, and to create sort of a soft glow. And this extends also to my bedroom to sort of just make things a little bit more peaceful and calm. So we can just sleep very peacefully. That sort of is sort of like what the cottage witch free practice for me is like realistically, pretty much almost every day. um, there are days, of course, because my I have a spiritual business, Leap Taken. You can check out the website, leaptaken.com. Link will be in the description, by the way. That is pretty much my practice. However, there are days where there's a lot more magic going on. There's a lot more tarot and oracle cards happening throughout the day because I have clients. I also do monthly moon readings. That's a service that we offer. So I'm also in touch with more of that aspect as well. Then there's writing. I'm also I have books that I sell right now. There are grimoires that are available. Book of Shadows for the Love Witch, Book of Shadows for the Hearth Witch, and a Hoodoo grimoire. There is something I'm currently writing on as well. I'm also someone who is a budding novelist, and I'm working on 2 different books. They're all in the paranormal because I love that genre as well. So there's that aspect of my life as well that is also sort of its own magic because I believe we all have access to a creative muse, and I mean that literally. So there's rituals and things that I may do to sort of call on that creative muse to help me in the process. Yeah, so there's that as well. And again, as I mentioned, I run a coven, so that's an entire set of magic that's taking place where sometimes it's just conversations where we're meeting, other times we're doing work, we're doing magic, we're doing spells and rituals and crafts of all, we're working with deities. We're doing our own divination and things like that together as a group. So there's so many other aspects as well, but I wanted to kind of give you like a baseline foundational aspect of every day for a cottage witch. So yeah, that was that. But yeah, I take each day as it comes, as most of us do. And each day I truly make a point. My mission is to live a magical lifestyle. So yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions about anything, leave it in the comments. Check out my website, leaptaken.com. You can check out some of the services that I offer there. And as always, thanks again. All right, bye.